Fresh off winning the gold medal at the 2024 Paris Olympics, Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry is now gearing up to lead his team again in the upcoming 2024-25 NBA season. Curry recently signed a one-year contract extension worth $62.6 million, ensuring his stay in the Bay Area. However, the big question for the franchise is whether they are truly committed to winning another championship with the star player on their roster. While Curry hasn't shown any signs of requesting a trade, things can change quickly in the NBA. The point guard is determined to win another championship, but it remains unclear if that will be possible with Golden State. His future with the Warriors sparked speculation when he decided to remove the team from his Instagram bio. However, he recently clarified the situation through Emily Chang's Instagram account. Emily Chang: I'm not asking him why he took the Warriors off Instagram. Aisha Curry: wait, what? Steph: I was proud to be an Olympic athlete. Emily: you're here forever. Steph: that's the plan. Curry explained that the change was to show support for the USA basketball team, and it seems to reassure fans and the organization that he intends to stay and retire as a Golden State player. At this point, it would be surprising if Curry asked to leave the only team he's ever played for, and it will be interesting to see how his career unfolds in the final years with the Warriors. There's much to like, but also much to fear. 2 years ago, the Golden State Warriors were riding high at the start of training camp. They had just won their 4th championship in 8 years, surprising the NBA, and kept the core that led them to victory. Klay Thompson was fully recovered from his serious injuries. Andrew Wiggins had become an all-star. Jordan Poole seemed on track to reach the same level. Everything seemed perfect. But then it all fell apart. As the season began, tensions were running high after a tumultuous training camp that culminated in Draymond Green punching Poole. Wiggins' performance dropped, as he missed more than half the season due to injuries and personal issues. Thompson couldn't build on his triumphant return, and Poole had a significant decline. The Warriors won 9 fewer games than in their championship campaign and were easily eliminated in the Western Conference semifinals. A year ago, the Warriors weren't as confident, but there were reasons for optimism. With a full season under his belt, many expected Thompson to return to all-star form. It was assumed that Wiggins wouldn't miss 47 games again and would return to playing at an all-star level. Poole's struggles were swapped for Chris Paul's Hall of Fame resume, which was expected to significantly improve team chemistry. Jonathan Kuminga looked ready for a breakout season. The Warriors even improved their win total, but the vibe wasn't great. Thompson struggled throughout the year, and tensions rose. Paul fit in well but wasn't the game-changer the team had envisioned. Wiggins played most of the year, but that wasn't a good thing, given how much he struggled. The team barely made it to the play-in tournament and was humiliated by the Sacramento Kings in the first round. In hindsight, it's easy to predict the problems that emerged for the Warriors in those respective seasons. We don't know what issues will arise this year. We only know how the team looks right now. So, are they in a better position? It's hard to argue they're in a better spot than 2 years ago before the punch incident. But it's also difficult to say they're in a worse position than 2 years ago after the punch. The optimism of last year is harder to find now, especially considering that any hope for a Thompson comeback means watching the Dallas Mavericks games. Still, the Warriors are in a situation that warrants some excitement. Brandon Podziemski and Tracy Jackson-Davis are coming off impressive rookie campaigns, while Kuminga is building on a third year that at times looked all-star caliber. The Warriors have distanced themselves from the disappointments of recent years and bolstered their roster with reliable, smart, and talented veterans like Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, and DeAnthony Melton. Steph Curry and Steve Kerr seem invigorated by their Olympic experience rather than worn out by it. They no longer look like the team that dominated the NBA a year or two ago, but now they resemble more of what a typical title-contending NBA team usually is, and that could be a good thing. A year from now, we may have a better answer to that question. But for now, it's worth considering that the Warriors might be in a better situation than they've been in the past few seasons. Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors recently renewed his contract. Curry has spent his entire 15-year NBA career with the Warriors. Recently, the two-time MVP signed a contract extension with the franchise. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski on August 29th, Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry has agreed to a one-year, $62.6 million extension that will keep him under contract through the 2026-2027 season, his agent Jeff Austin of Octagon told ESPN. There has been much speculation about Curry's future, especially after the Warriors faced a tough season and lost Klay Thompson in free agency. Warriors fans can breathe a sigh of relief after the NBA legend signed the contract extension. Warriors extend point guard Stephen Curry's contract. Curry also made an interesting three-word statement to Emily Chang. "Curry, that's the plan." Via Chang's Instagram, "Good news for Warriors fans, Stephen Curry 30 just signed a new one-year contract. But when I saw him this week, he said the plan is to stay forever. P.S. Super fun episode of The Circuit coming with Steph and..." Curry is coming off another sensational season, where he averaged 26.4 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 5.1 assists per game, shooting 45% from the field and 40.8% from three-point range in 74 games. He will turn 37 in the middle of next season, but he is still clearly one of the top 10 players in the NBA. However, the Warriors missed the NBA playoffs for the third time in the last 5 seasons, losing to the Sacramento Kings in the play-in tournament. Stephen A. Smith expressed surprise at the Golden State Warriors' difficulty in surrounding Steph Curry with star players. After losing Klay Thompson in free agency in July and failing to sign Lauri Markkanen from the Utah Jazz this month, the Warriors have bolstered their roster, but it might not be enough to help Curry win his 5th championship. In a recent episode of ESPN's First Take, the team discussed Curry's contract extension with the Warriors, which put to rest any doubts about his future. However, Smith questioned the team's management about building a championship-caliber squad around the 36-year-old star. "I still look at the organization as a whole, specifically Steve Kerr, and wonder, why can't we give this guy more help? We're talking about a Steph Curry who still seems to be in his prime. Still the best shooter on the planet, still able to score 25 points per game, still shooting over 40% from three. Why the hell can't we give him help?" Smith said. H/T NBC Sports Bay Area. The sports analyst continued. "One of the nicest guys on the planet. His teammates love him. The organization reveres him. The city and the region idolize him. Why the hell can't we get a heavy hitter to play alongside this guy? You'd think people would be striving to do that. I don't know if that's been the case." Steph Curry is coming off a season where he averaged 26.4 points per game and shot 40.8% from three-point range. Curry did everything he could to carry the Warriors throughout the season, only to see them miss the playoffs after losing to the Sacramento Kings in the NBA play-in tournament as the 10th seed. New trade proposal between 3 teams involves sending Ingram and Bogdan to the Warriors. Pelicans receive a starting center. Could the Hawks rebuild their asset base by becoming the 3rd team in a deal that would send Brandon Ingram to the Warriors? With the NBA season approaching, the trade market for Pelicans forward Brandon Ingram has been quite quiet. New Orleans has yet to trade their starting forward and shows little interest in signing the 4-year, $208 million extension he's seeking. If there were genuine interest, the deal would have already been made. Reports indicate that the Pelicans are comfortable keeping him. Pelicans president of basketball operations David Griffin commented on the situation in July. "So, I think from a relationship standpoint, we've made it clear that we'd prefer Brandon to stay with us, and Brandon has also expressed that he'd prefer to stay with us. At the same time, there's a financial reality to consider, and maybe we can't go as far as he and his agency would like in terms of keeping this group together. So, for now, we'll see how things play out. We're committed to each other. We're committed to seeing if this team can work in a way that makes sense." Griffin seems to believe that the issue involves the lack of financial resources across the NBA. He mentioned this in the same interview. "When you don't have to pay these players, like Ingram, you want all of them. But when you have to shell out $50 million a year, things get complicated." Despite the financial complications, this is a situation that needs to be resolved soon. The addition of DeJounte Murray requires a new offensive approach that will demand a lot of the ball. Ingram isn't a player who thrives without the ball, and the Pelicans need to make room for a Trey Murphy contract extension. Therefore, it seems that trading Ingram is more a matter of when rather than if. If a trade were to happen, the Warriors emerge as an intriguing destination. They could offer Kevin Looney as a starting center, which is an upgrade over the current starter, Daniel Tice. Looney fell in the Warriors' rotation last year, but it was a challenging season with many hurdles in Golden State. He offers a cheap starting option who can do the dirty work on the boards, freeing up Zion Williamson, Murray, and C.J. McCollum to lead the offense. However, Ingram alone wouldn't be enough to elevate the Warriors to title contender status. This is where Atlanta could come in as the third team, providing the necessary players to firmly place Golden State among the top 5 in the Western Conference. How would a trade between these teams look? It's important to note that this is just a fun speculation to explore what kind of moves could be made, not what I think the Hawks should or will do. That's all. Here's the trade. Atlanta Hawks receive Gary Payton II, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, 2025 first-round pick, unprotected, via Golden State Warriors, 2028 first-round pick, top 5 protected, via Golden State Warriors. Golden State Warriors receive Brandon Ingram, Bogdanovic, Cody Zeller. New Orleans Pelicans receive Andrew Wiggins, Kevin Looney, 2026 second-round pick, unprotected from Atlanta Hawks, via Golden State Warriors, 2028 second-round pick, unprotected from Atlanta Hawks, via Golden State Warriors. Why the Hawks would do this trade? Acquiring 2 first-round picks, especially one unprotected in 2025, would be quite appealing to the Hawks, who would sell Bogdanovic high after his impressive season and performance in the Olympics. Buddy Hield may not be on the same level as Bogdanovic, but he has been a high-volume shooter and it's easy to imagine a bounce-back year in Atlanta. Payton would be a good insurance option for Kobe Buffkin, and Moody is a wing with length and some floor spacing ability. He could develop into a long-term replacement for Bogdanovic as the Hawks' sixth man. Why the Hawks wouldn't do this trade? Bogdanovic is still an extremely effective player and drives Atlanta's offensive success, 12th best offense in the NBA in terms of offensive rating last year. Hield had a poor season in Philadelphia, and Moody's role was very inconsistent for the Warriors last season. It's not hard to imagine that all these acquisitions would make only minor impacts in Atlanta. Why the Warriors would do this trade? The Warriors could field a lineup with Curry, Podziemski, Ingram, Green, Jackson Davis, bringing Bogdanovic off the bench, which could easily be one of the best offenses in the NBA. Curry is still one of the best defensive engines in the league, and this team would be virtually immune to matchups against any defense they face. A Curry-Bogdanovic backcourt is also extremely difficult to cover on the perimeter. Why the Warriors wouldn't do this trade? They'd be sending out a lot of first-round picks in this deal, and I'm not sure they'd have enough talent to really be in the mix for a potential finals appearance. This offense is capable of facing anyone, but they'd need some favorable factors to make a deep playoff run. Why the Pelicans would do this trade? The Pelicans would be getting a starting center who could probably last 60 to 65 games and contribute on both ends of the floor, something they didn't have before. Looney might not be an elite option, but he alleviates the need to play Zion many minutes at center, which would put less strain on his body. Additionally, Wiggins could be a two-way impact player if he returns to form and doesn't require many touches to be effective. Why the Pelicans wouldn't do this trade? Wiggins' contract is one of the worst in the NBA right now. Additionally, the trade doesn't open up much space for a Trey Murphy 3 extension, and if it doesn't work out, it could leave the Pelicans in a rather difficult situation. Looney is also past his prime, and there's a chance he's only a marginal upgrade over Tice. Who would say no? I'd venture to say that New Orleans and Golden State would back out of this deal. The Pelicans probably don't want to take on Wiggins' contract, and the Warriors would likely be wary of sending out 2 first-round picks, even for a player like Bogdanovic.